Hey everybody, it's Petey from the Spin Rack. We also have
Calvin Ellis, ready to rock.
the Odyssey has a new trailer, new things, more actors, and we're ready to react to it. Are you ready, Cal?
Yeah.
Here we go. Bang. Hey, so what do you think?
I'm pretty much in the same vein where I was last time. It doesn't look like they're shying away from the mythological aspects of the story, which is good. But it still looks like he's going to do Christopher Nolan with the story. So we have to see how we got to see how that shakes out. The one thing I am noting is that the characters are too old. I mean, they're doing their best to make Anne Hathaway look old, and she's just not there yet.
You saying you saying that they're not old enough, or just Anne
No,
Hathaway is not old,
we
old?
we tend to go and make ancient history analogous with what we think people should be in terms of age. Odysseus's father is still alive when he comes back. But if you look here, this dude looks like, I mean, one, you can tell even with Matt Damon, they put the beard on him, they gave him the gray, and so I guess they think he must be like what? They must think this is I mean, they're going for somebody who's like in their 60s or something, or like late 50s. And Odysseus probably when he returned would have probably have been older than about 45 at best. Because Odysseus's father is still alive when he comes back. And he probably became king since his father is still alive and probably, ceded the throne to his son.
Yeah.
So he was probably he was probably young. I mean, marriages would have occurred younger. He just had his first child, not his third child. So there's a very good chance when Odysseus goes off, to the Trojan War, he would have been in his early 20s.
Mhm.
A lot of the guys going over would have been pretty young at the end of the day. And then it's 20 years when he returns, so he's probably in his 40s. So, everybody's too old. You know, everybody's too old. Telemachus, well, this is because I already know the character, but Telemachus should be younger. Well, Telemachus should be about 20.
Mhm.
Telemachus should be about 20. So, okay, I'll give it that, he could probably, go for a young man at the very least. But Telemachus should look more like a teenager, like he's just getting there at the end of the day. Anne Hathaway, Anne Hathaway does not, she does not look age appropriate. So if Anne Hathaway is 45, she still looks like she's in her 30s. So they're doing their best to make her look older
Mhm.
than what she actually does. So that's one of the things I did note. They're really trying to make them older. But if you understand ancient history and how people would have been in these roles much younger than we would expect, where like, oh, you can't be president until you're 35. Hey, you could be king at 15.
Yeah.
So that's one of the things I do note. There, we do tend to be very egocentric when it comes to their time period and our time period. Really superimposing what we think the ages should be, and that's not really necessarily what the case was. But aside of that, okay, we're getting the Cyclops, great. We can see we're getting the gods, we're getting Athena, we're definitely going to get Odysseus being, arrogant, having that hubris. But then we got the scene where the guys are in like, the Iron Man armor,
Mhm.
and I'm like, that never happened. Okay, I don't know what you're going to try to
Are
say
you
that is.
sure about that? That the Giants didn't have the Iron Man armor?
I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. I'm very familiar with that text. Very familiar. So I look at that and I'm like, yeah, we're going to Christopher Nolan this. Well, it could be
So
worse. We could Guy Ritchie it, and then who knows what would be happening. We'd have guys with Cockney accents trying to talk down to the Cyclops.
so my question is, they say they're going to be ghosts. I've only heard this, so you can freaking confirm or say no. There's going to be ghosts of certain characters that were in that we heard about. Say like the
Mhm.
ghost of Achilles. Is there a ghost of Achilles in this story?
Yeah, there's a scene where Odysseus has to go to the underworld in order so
Mhm.
he can summon the ghost of Tiresias. So Tiresias will tell him what he needs to do in order to get home. And when he summon, in order to summon the ghost of Tiresias, he has to like get a like a goat, spill the blood of the goat, and then the dead will come to feed, to feed on the blood. So, or rather, Tiresias will still get there. But in doing such, he sees the ghost of Achilles. He sees the ghost of Hercules. At the very least, the mortal part of Hercules is also in the underworld. He sees the ghost of Agamemnon. Yeah, so there's a bunch of different people he sees, including Achilles.
So this is supposed to be Achilles here. And fan thing, they think this person is Achilles
Why would they think that's Achilles?
because they don't know who this actor is playing. So they're
So
saying,
why would they assume this is Achilles?
I don't have proof, but they're saying that this might be. They don't know who this actor is playing, but they're saying, is this?
They, but why would they think it's okay? You could assume it's a whole bunch of different people from the Trojan War. Why would you think this is Achilles?
Yeah. So I would go with what you're saying. Since we don't have proof, I'm scared to say who this is if you don't
Does he
have.
say anything in the trailer that would make
No,
us think it's
nothing.
Achilles?
They don't say who that character is, or they know who the actor is, and they're like pondering, and they say Achilles, the ghost of Achilles. So
Well,
we have
in
no
Greek
proof yet.
mythology, in Greek mythology, these are shades.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so they're literal ghosts. They're not corporeal. They're literal ghosts at the end of the day. So, which again would beg the question, well, how are they drinking this blood? I don't know. Ask a Greek. But you know, they're literal shades, and the idea is that when they die, they die and they should look as they did when they died.
Mm-hmm.
So Achilles is shot through the heel. You know, that's pretty much, foments his death at the end of the day. So you would still think of Achilles, long hair, armor, but this right over here is like, okay, what the heck is going on? Got short hair, looks like his face has been all, muddied or, bloodied up if you have. So I don't understand why this would be Achilles. But we still got people speculating. We still have people speculating that the Jackal is going to be making an appearance in the next Spider-Man movie. So, there's not a lot going on for common sense, right?
All right, so that's you handled that one very well, and we can't say anything until we're in the theaters and we're saying what the. But anyway, yes, it looks like the movie only Christopher Nolan can put. They only put money. Well, this is why Oppenheimer had to make money because if it didn't, there'd be no chance that he can get this thing done. And Tenet,
And
he
that's the way it
wasn't.
works.
Yeah, so they
That's
had him on the $1 billion thing on his movies, and obviously Tenet was put out during the pandemic, so it did not do what it was
which
supposed to do.
yeah, which
But
wasn't a bad movie. That
no,
wasn't a bad movie.
yeah, and if I was that's the thing, if I was young, we would be playing backwards all the time. Like, yo, that would have been I'm going back. Oh no, no, you can't use backwards right now. I just did. I just went backwards. That's not how it works. This it does. But
That's how it works now.
yeah,
That's how it works now.
so yeah, but with the marketing, which I don't think they're gonna be marketing into like a Devil Wears Prada and the and the Odyssey put together type of thing. So, but yeah, it's got everybody in it. And old school Hollywood, all the young, the young and old, who are names are in this, and you know, and he lucked out getting some scenes with Charlize Theron. So, what more can you ask? I guess that's it. But yeah, definitely looks like it's going to be captivating. The only sad part is that this is definitely something my father would have fell out of the seat for, and he is definitely wasn't too crazy a stickler of having everything match the story. If he can get the parts that he wants to get out of it, he could have fun with these movies. But he definitely want to go see this thing. He liked Rome. He was okay when you kind of toned down the gods aspect, and he liked obviously the what's that thing, the Clash of the Titans. He like as a young man, he liked the the decent Argonauts. So Just something that he definitely would want to check out if he was still around. So that's my last bits. We'll be checking this, and we will be back with
I'm
more.
not a,
Hmm?
I won't say that I'm a stickler, but when, unfortunately, especially now, they don't like using the gods. They
Mhm.
really want to use that aspect. They wouldn't want to leave that out, and that's for because of there's been this unnecessary push that the fantasy aspects or the mythological aspects are like, oh, I don't want to deal with all that. It's all fairy tale nonsense. But the fiction I'm creating is real. That's where they
Yeah.
stand. But in a story where the gods are necessary, where you have certain things going on, and you're like, well, how does this happen? You need the divine intervention. Like, how does he survive all this time? He survives because he gets divine intervention. The gods are a crucial and integral part of the story. It's like, why can't he get home? Because the gods won't let him.
Mhm.
The God, okay, he can't get home because of the gods. He gets home because of the gods. He survives because of the gods. So when you take all of that out, now you have to fill in the god holes here, and they've never really done it well. So just leave the gods in there. They're
Yeah.
there for a reason. They're part of the story.
Yeah.
So I'm
And
not I'm not necessarily a stickler like it has to follow everything, but when you take out the things that are crucial to the story being executed, yeah, I have a problem with that.
yeah, yeah. No, I mean, well, the other thing is this different age where there's books and novels that are out there, and being open for translation to certain things. And I can't think of one that he wanted to see outside of maybe The Firm, which but I don't think he complained too much. He just was kind of like a little. No, maybe that was my cousin. My cousin was a big Firm guy, so I think he was. So I think in the complaints he was having, I can't think of. I think yeah, most of the time when there was a book that I mean, there was tons of books that turned into movies. The ones he was really excited about, he was just really excited to see. And outside of going to see the Bugsy Siegel movie or Bugsy movie that we went to see, and he fell asleep in it. It was like he was talking about Bugsy the entire time before we got to the movie, and then he fell asleep. So, but yeah, anyway, definitely looks good, and we'll be checking it out. And definitely, since we have an insider that got hat knows it front to back, we will be able to give you some more insights on this as we go along. Spinner rack,
We are out.
we are out.